Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is, of course, your boy Nolan Hawkeye Anthony here, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. And then week when it becomes the week, wherever you may be, and however you may be listening. I don't know how many of you ultimately watched the Iowa Hoops game today, as the playoffs are in full swing, the NFL playoffs. Honestly, I could really care less about the NFL these days. The team that I enjoy to watch, the Chicago Bears, they suck, and they have been stinking for a while. So I'm just not overly concerned with the NFL myself, but I do understand if you are, there's a huge game with the Dallas Cowboys and the Niners. But nevertheless, your boy Nolan has got you covered. I will give you guys the analysis of a lifetime right here, right now on this channel. But before we get into any of that, I want to mention smashing that subscribe button because, well, subscribing just makes you feel good. And at the very least, like, comment, share. You know the drill. If when you subscribe, you're directly helping out a fellow Hawkeye fan. It is a 360 win, in my opinion. So the Iowa Hawkeyes picked up an 81-71 victory over Minnesota. And, the reality is Minnesota was 10-4 going into this game. They absolutely could have used a win against Iowa. It would have been a quadrant one victory for them had they been able to pull off the late rally. And for Iowa, it's the same thing. I think this is a quad two victory for the Iowa Hawkeyes, but it might be a quad one victory. I do need to pull that up real quick. Let's get Ken Palm and let's get the net rankings up as well. So there was a lot at stake. Minnesota had a few guys out from what I can gather, but it did look like most of their main guys were there. I could be wrong. Of course, they have a new head coach, parting ways with Pitino. That did not end up working out. Let's see where Minnesota is ranked. Iowa is 20. Let's see here. They are 23rd in the net rankings, and Minnesota. Where are you, Minnesota? Geez, way down here. 69th. So I think this is a quadrant two victory. It still might be a quadrant one because I believe a quadrant one victory is 1-75 on the road. So if the team is ranked between 1 and 75 and you beat them on the road, then it is a quadrant one victory. Let me go back up to Iowa and see here. Quadrant 1, 0-4. No, I think it's going down as a quadrant 2. Either way, this was just a necessity for the Iowa Hawkeyes, a chance for them to get back to 500 in the Big Ten. And let's talk a little bit about the game. I would say for about 75% of the game, the Iowa Hawkeyes were comfortably in control. They dominated in the first half. And they dominated for much of the second half. I mean, all the way up until about 10 minutes to go in the second half, the Iowa Hawkeyes were up by 18 to 20 plus points. They were able to pretty much score at will whenever they wanted to. But Minnesota, credit to Minnesota, they hit some tough shots. They really did. They started getting physical. They started crashing the glass, and they got a few and ones. They got a few big threes here and there. And, for a little stretch there, you could tell with Iowa that they were pretty much kind of looking around to see who was going to hit the big shot and get them out of this little funk that they had found themselves in. So Iowa made this way tougher than it needed to be. Like I said, they were up by 15 to 22, 20. I think 22, but let's just go 15 to 20 points for much of the second half. and Minnesota hit some big shots to get it close. And they would get within 3 points. I mean, Minnesota literally got within 3 points. That is how close it got. But Keegan Murray hit a massive 3-point shot to basically put the game away for the Hawkeyes. And listen, let's talk about Keegan Murray for 1 second. Even though in all honesty, he probably deserves way more than 1 second of conversation. The dude, I've been careful to not say that he is the best Iowa Hawkeye under Fran McCaffrey to play thus far. And that includes Joe Wieskamp and Luka Garza and Tyler Cook and Peter Jock. But I got to tell you guys, I mean, he, in my opinion, I think it's pretty obvious at this point, he is the best, at the very least, the best NBA prospect the Iowa Hawkeyes have had under Fran McCaffrey in his whole tenure. And the only reason I would not say he is putting together a better campaign or is better than Luka Garza is because Luka Garza put together 2 back-to-back seasons of just insane numbers. But Keegan Murray, if we just look at talent alone, is neck and neck. I mean, the dude is so gifted. He's such a smooth athlete. He's long. He's tall. He's 6'8". He can handle the rock. He can shoot the three. He has a beautiful shot. I think this dude is going to be a top 10 pick. I mean, he is that good. Just an absolute baller for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And, it's just a beautiful relationship. Philip Rebraca had a pretty good game, too. He had 12 points. I believe that is the second game in a row he has had or been in double figures. And, early in the season, there was a lot of people giving me the starting 5 that they would go with. And usually, I would say more often than not, Rebraca was not in their starting 5. And I kept him in mind for the very reason what we saw today, which is he competes. There was one dunk he had on the fast break, and he's going like this, and he's going like this, pounding his chest, and just competing. He's getting after it. I think he's continuing to get better for the Iowa Hawkeyes. What it looks like right now is it's Keegan Murray up here, and it's Chris Murray, Patrick McCaffrey, and at times Philip Rebraca, and Jordan Bohannon, all capable, but not to the level that Keegan is on a consistent basis. Either way, Philip Rebraca has had 2 solid back-to-back games, and I am excited to see how much he can grow in the span of this season. He had 12 boards, and that was absolutely huge as the Iowa Hawkeyes have struggled on the glass of late. Jordan Bohannon was in double figures. Patrick McCaffrey was in double figures. He had a pretty solid game. Like I said last video, Patrick McCaffrey right now is a really, really solid to good role player. He is not elite, in my opinion. I do think he has the potential to play in the NBA. I mean, the guy is 6'9" and is pretty dang athletic. So I think he has NBA potential. But right now, he is just a really, really good role player. He is not the player for the Iowa Hawkeyes, as that belongs to Keegan Murray. And but either way, Patrick had a really solid game today. Joe Toussaint chipped in 8 points, had a few good drives in this contest. Tony Perkins had 5 points. Joe Toussaint, by the way, with 26 minutes, is, I believe, the most minutes he has played in one of these big games this season. Usually he's around 20 to 22 minutes each night, and he had 26 minutes. And as you guys can see down here, the role players, Aaron Eulis and Chris Murray, played about 11, 12 minutes. Peyton Sanford chipped in 9 minutes. Now, what we did not see is Riley Mulvey or Josh Agudale. And late in the game, it hurt Iowa. It absolutely did. As the true freshman Thompson just was outboarding, out hustling, out physicality, being more physical than the other Iowa players. You know, he's a 7-footer, and they were struggling. And I would have liked to see Josh Agudale or Riley Mulvey just for a couple minutes. And as I've said before, each game, in my opinion, whatever combination, whether it's one of them by themselves or both of them together, not at the same time, they would never be on the court at the same time unless it was garbage minutes. But throughout the course of the game, they need to play between 5 and 8 minutes just to give some breathing room to Philip Rebraca and Keegan Murray and Chris Murray. So, but they did not get in the game tonight. Let's look at the team stats here for the Iowa Hawkeyes and Minnesota. Let's take a look at some of this fun stuff here. I was looking to see if the highlights were ready for this game, but it is not ready, unfortunately. That's all right. So going back to the team stats here, I mean, you know, Iowa, and this is why I think that they need to play one of their big guys 5 to 8 minutes, because Iowa just doesn't have enough size otherwise. And, you know, this is the second game in a row where the team that Iowa is playing has shot 50%. You know, that Iowa needs to get that to, you know, 48, 47%. For the opposing team. Iowa shot an abysmal 22% from 3, as I've said in the past. Outside of Jordan Bohannon, Iowa has a bunch of okay to average three-point shooters. Jordan Bohannon is really the only good or elite three-point shooter the Iowa Hawkeyes have. But as we can see here, second game in a row, the Hawkeyes have won the rebounding battle 40-31, and they had 15 offensive boards. And if this is going to remain a trend for the Hawkeyes, and they basically needed to struggle early in the season in order to be an excellent rebounding team late in the season, I'll take it. I will take it. So we'll see how that progresses. 18 assists, 5 blocks, and 10 steals for the Iowa Hawkeyes. All right, guys, that is about it. As you guys can see here, Iowa has jumped up to number 19 in the KenPom rankings. They have the 3rd best offense and 159th best defense. Not going to cut it. They need to get in the top 100 defensively. But in my eyes, folks, this was absolutely huge for them to get to 500, and they are squarely in the NCAA tournament as of right now. Squarely, you know, they would probably be a 4 or 5 seed if the NCAA tournament were to start today. They have some very quality wins. And this is yet another one. I'm hoping, if we take a look here at the rest of the upcoming schedule for the Iowa Hawkeyes, I'm hoping that they can come out of this stretch before playing Purdue again at a 5-3 mark. That would be excellent. And I think it is absolutely doable with Rutgers and Penn State on the schedule for the Iowa Hawkeyes. As I said, they are squarely in the NCAA tournament if the NCAA tournament were to start today. And in my opinion, they are a top 8 Big Ten team as of right now. They're in my eyes, they're probably 6th, 7th, or 8th. I think there's a few teams in that category. So things are moving in the right direction for your Iowa men's basketball team. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to smash that subscribe button because, well, Subscribing makes you feel good. And at the very least, like, comment, share. You know the drill. I will put the PayPal link in the description. Go to 247hawkeye.com. Follow me on Twitter at 247Hawkeye. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy, Willow. And facts or feelings, your feelings don't matter. Love y'all. See you next time. Bye.